Hi everybody, it's Becky from Keats Kitchen. Let's make some chicken Alfredo for Valentine's dinner. We're going to start with the chicken, getting the chicken prepped. And I just take 2 chicken breasts and I'm going to cut them in half, and then I'm going to slice them. I'm going to thin them out. So cut them in half and then slice them once down the middle to make them thinner, if that makes any sense. Okay, I have some seasoning that I'm going to sprinkle on top of this. So I have to move my camera back over the stove and we'll get cooking. All right, I'm ready to fry up the chicken. I have my burner on and I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of virgin olive oil. There's exactly 2 tablespoons there. And 1 tablespoon of butter. Butter. Let that heat up for just a second. Once it's hot and ready to go, I'll put the chicken breast in, and I have some seasoning here. And what this consists of is 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. So when that's ready and in the pot, I will season it. I'll season it on both sides. So after one side is brown, I'll turn it over and season the other side. So I'm gonna give that a few minutes to heat up really good. Alrighty, it's time to put the chicken in the pan. It's nice and hot. So I have 2 chicken breasts here, cut them in half, and then I sliced them in half the other way so they'd be thinner, if that makes any sense. They'll cook up a little bit quicker too. And I'm going to slice them in julienne slices once the chicken is done, so that'll make it easier as well. Okay, I have all the chicken in there, and then I have my seasoning. I told you before, but I'll tell you again. It's 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, 3/4 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. And I'm just going to sprinkle, I hope you can see it, on the chicken. And I'm usually pretty generous with it. Okay, and I've saved a little for the other side, so we're gonna let these cook up on one side, and then I'll flip them over here in just a bit. They're gonna cook on this side for probably about 4 minutes. While the chicken is cooking, I'm going to start a pot of boiling water, and I'm going to salt it, pretty good, maybe like a 1/2 teaspoon of salt in there. And I have a box of fettuccine, and I'm going to add this whole thing when the water is boiling. And I'll show you when we get to that next step. So that's cooking up real good on one side, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. Folks, this is a very easy recipe, very simple. It does not take long at all. Okay, so on the other side, I'm going to season the other side here. Okay, let the other side cook for just a little bit. Then we'll be ready to take it out and slice it up. I think we're just about done here. I wanted it to brown just a little bit more. I did take a few pieces out that were a little bit thinner than the others that I knew were done. And my water's just about boiling. So I have my thermometer. The chicken needs to be at least 165. Looks like we're there. 170, 178, 180. Yeah, we're there. Almost ready to come out. So that one's done. Just gonna let them brown a tad bit more. And then I'm going to remove the chicken, let it cool for just a bit, and then slice it up. So I will be right back. The chicken is all done. I put it on a separate plate here. And this pan with the leftover butter and oil, I'm just gonna move it aside for a minute, turn off the burner. So it doesn't burn, and let this cool for a minute and slice it up, and then I'll come back and make the Alfredo sauce. Okay, I'm slicing up the chicken. Slice it along the grain in little thin julienne slices. And then I cut the longer ones in half. Okay, I'm going to cut all these up, put them on a plate, and then get making the sauce. I'll be right back. So for a side dish with the Alfredo, I am going to pan fry some asparagus. What I'm going to do first is I'm using avocado oil. So I'll start with about 2 tablespoons. This is really, really easy. Asparagus cooked up in a pan, so good. I'm just going to take my asparagus. I took a bunch of asparagus and I cut the ends off, probably about that much. I'm just gonna coat this real good in the avocado oil. And a little bit of salt. I don't add too much because if you do add too much, you can't go back. I leave it up to the person eating with how salty or peppery they want it. So if it's not enough, they can add at dinner time. So I'm just going to let this fry a little bit, probably about 5 to 6 minutes. Put a lid on it so it can give it the steam effect too. Let that cook for a little bit. Okay, the asparagus has been cooking for about 6 or 7 minutes. It's a little brown on some, but we like it that way. We like them just a little crispy. So I'm going to transfer this into a separate pan and put it in the oven at about 170 so it stays nice and warm until we're ready to eat. This will go with our chicken Alfredo. All right, my water is boiling. Sorry, I got a shadow. The sun's starting to go down, so I have to turn on my lights. I'm gonna add this whole box of fettuccine. Let that cook down. We're gonna let the pasta cook for about 11 minutes. I'll be back. Okay, so while the pasta is cooking or boiling, I'm gonna make the Alfredo sauce, and I put my pot back on the burner with all the oils and butter from cooking the chicken. You want to keep that to make your Alfredo with. It'll make the sauce really good. And just take a whisk, melt the butter really good. You can see there's the drippings from the chicken in there. You want that. That's what makes it delicious. Okay, gonna let that butter melt down. Then I'll come back and add the rest. All right, that butter is melted down really good. So I'm going to add 1 pint of heavy whipping cream. Whisk that in good. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And whoa, don't want that in there. Okay, then 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Stir that up. And 1/4 teaspoon of ground black pepper. 1 scant teaspoon of garlic powder, so not quite a teaspoon, a little more than 1/4. Garlic powder. My dog. He's got a barking thing going on today. Okay. Stir that up good. Then I have a container, well, it's roughly 2 cups. I don't have my glasses on, I can't see, but this whole container comes to 2 cups. So 2 cups of grated Parmesan cheese. Kind of hurried today because I decided at the last minute I was going to show y'all how to make this. I had planned on making it for Valentine's dinner, and I mean, why go out when you cook? I cook for my family for Valentine's Day. So, and it's crowded. You have to go out and fight the crowds and all the people. So I'm going to cook this for a minute. Let that cheese in there melt down, the Parmesan cheese, and then when it's ready and thickened, I will add the chicken. Okay, so this is boiling up really good. My Parmesan cheese is melted. I forgot one thing. I have 1 garlic clove in here. I'm gonna squeeze that in there. I didn't mean to forget. I'm just hurrying so fast. Get this dinner on for my family. So anyway, I'll be right back to add the chicken. Okay, I'm going to add the chicken here, all the chicken that I cut up. Oh, it smells good, guys. Okay, so I'm going to turn this down and let it simmer and let it continue to thicken up just a bit, but we're done with our sauce. And our pasta is just about done, and then we'll throw it all together. All right, our pasta is all cooked and ready to add, so I'm just gonna add all this pasta, give it a good stir with my tongs, just toss it all up. This is such a good recipe, and it's so quick and easy, really. And I've toasted up a little bit of garlic bread to go on the side and along with the asparagus. And that is our Valentine's Day dinner.